Hi everybody, my name is Lauren and I am one of the co-presidents of Rowan's 3D Printing Club. And today I'm going to show you how to make a candy cane using the tracing feature in OnShape. So I'm super excited and I'm really hoping that you guys enjoy this and find it to be useful. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. This is what I have done as far as the candy cane model goes. So you can see there's a couple extrusions, there's a couple sketches that we have here, and then I have this cute little circly, semicircle thing for you to put a string through if you would like to make this an ornament. So this is pretty cute. I think it would look really awesome on a Christmas tree, and hey, you can say that you made it, which is the best part. So let's get started. I'm going to go back to my OnShape home screen. So the first step, I guess, would be to sign on to OnShape. So if you don't have an OnShape account, it's all free. All you have to do is just use your school email to sign up. So you can do that. And then once you sign up, you should have a screen that looks something like this when you first sign on. It should be your home screen. So if you see something like this, you're in the right spot. Okay, so once you get onto OnShape and you see the screen, the next thing that we're going to do is to actually find an image of a candy cane on Google. And we have to do this step because we're using the tracing feature to make our candy cane. So all you have to do is just do candy cane clip art search, and you have, wow, so many options for candy canes that you can model. If I could give you any advice about which one to pick out of all these, I would say skip the ones that look kind of 3D like this and try to stay with ones that are flat and simple like this one. It gets to be a little bit hard with the extrusions on these 3D looking ribbons. So this is the one I used for my model. And once you find one that you like, all you have to do is just save it to somewhere on your desktop, and then I will show you how to upload it to OnShape. Okay, so let's just say you picked your candy cane and we don't need that tab anymore, so we're going to come back to our OnShape home screen. So you have your candy cane image saved to your desktop. The next step is to put it into OnShape. So you're going to click this blue create button right here, the down arrow. It's going to say import files, and you're going to click on that. And it should give you a list of things in your folders that you can choose from. And I'm going to re-upload this candy cane that I've uploaded in the past. So you can see right here, this is your candy cane that you uploaded. I don't know why there's not a picture image there, but that's the one that I uploaded previously. So it should look something like this, but it should still work no matter if the image is there or not for the preview. Okay, so our candy cane is uploaded. Everything's ready to go. We're going to start making our candy cane now. So we're going to come back over here to this create button. We're going to click that and we're going to start a new document. And we can name it whatever we want. So I'm going to name mine candy cane tutorial. Oops. All right, there we go. And you should have, voila, your document. So this is what the home page for the document looks like. So whenever you open up a new document in OnShape, this is what you should see. So if you see this right now, you are on the right track. So good job. Okay, so once you get to this page, you're going to start by creating a sketch. So the sketch is up here in the top left-hand corner. So go ahead and click on that sketch button. It's going to ask you to select a sketch plane. I usually use front. It doesn't really matter, whichever one you want to use. I would say that the sketch plane is where you create your 2D image of the thing that you are later going to make 3D through extrusion. So it really doesn't matter which one you use, just as long as it's 2D, which it is no matter what. Okay, so we have our sketch, we have the sketch plane all figured out. Now we are going to put our candy cane here so that we can use it as reference for our tracing. So to do that, we're going to come up here to our sketching toolbar, and we're going to come to this picture looking thing right here. We're going to click the down arrow and hit insert image. And you don't see anything on the current documents list, but if you go to other documents and my OnShape, you should see, voila, there's the candy cane that we just uploaded. So you're going to click on that again, and you're going to click and drag, and your candy cane appears. Now, I'm not sure if there's a way that you can rotate it. I'm not really sure. Let's try right clicking. Nope. Okay, so unfortunately we can't switch it to be right side up. So it's going to be a little bit tilted, but that's okay. Great, so now we have our candy cane in place so we can start the sketching process. Okay, so this is where we start actually using the tools of OnShape. So just make sure that you follow along, especially if this is your first time using OnShape. I'm going to explain a couple of the main tools that we'll be using for this particular candy cane project, and then things that are definitely common throughout most projects that you'll be doing with OnShape. So the first, I'm just going to explain what these are up here. This is a line tool, so you can draw lines with it. Now you might be thinking, oh great, okay, we'll just use the line tool to trace the candy cane out. And the problem with that is the curves. It's going to be really tough to do those curvy sections if you're just using a straight line. But thankfully, there's something called the spline tool, which is this curvy thing right here. I always confuse it with spleen, and no, that's a body part. That's not an OnShape tool. But yes, this is the spline that we use. And the cool thing about this is, I'll show you, it actually curves. So I'm drawing a straight line there, but look, it's curving to kind of go along with the line that I'm creating. So that's a really neat tool to use, especially when you're doing tracing. Yeah, so whenever you are tracing anything, even if it's not a candy cane, I would always suggest using that spline tool. The other tools that we have, pretty simple. This is just a rectangle. If you need to make a rectangle, you have that tool. I'm just going to delete my rectangle because I don't need it. And then a circle. So we're going to be using a couple of these tools later on, but just so you get a feel for the toolbar that we have in OnShape, that's what they do. There's a bunch of other interesting tools that you can use, and we'll get into a couple of them. So don't worry about these just yet. Okay, so we're going to come back to our spline tool, and we are going to trace just the outside layer right around the rim of our candy cane white and red areas here. So not the edge of the black part, just the internal line there. So don't worry about the candy cane lines just yet. Just do this internal part. So I just already made a mistake that or a line that I'm not happy with. So if this is the case, you want to click on your line and just hit the delete button, and it will go away for you. Okay, so let's restart. So spline tool, I'm going to actually go this way. So one of the cool things about OnShape is that you can zoom in really close and get super up and in detail with these lines here. And you could just do that with your scrolling feature on your computer or your mouse. Goodness. I will say it is easier if you have a mouse with these kind of projects on OnShape, because you can get really detailed and it's just easier if you're not relying on your computer keyboard. Yeah. So I'm using my mouse and I'm just scrolling in, and I'm going to get really close to that black line there. And I'm just going to do my tracing. We're going to do the entire candy cane. This can take a really long time when you are doing objects that are not simple like this, but it always comes out super great. So tracing is one of the most rewarding parts of OnShape in my experience. And you can do anything. You can even do people. I had a friend that made his parents and an anniversary, like, extruded picture of themselves. It was super cute, and he did it with the OnShape tracing feature, which is the coolest part. Like, you can honestly do anything. Now I'm having a little bit of trouble. I'm scrolling around a lot, but here we go. All right, just stay on that black line. We're almost halfway done, which is good. All right, we're around the curve there, so we just got to make it to the finish line right up there. Yep. Another weird thing is that sometimes it can be really tough to zoom in the correct spot. So usually when you see me scrolling in and scrolling out, it's to try to reposition my cursor in the right spot. So that can be a bit of a pain with OnShape, but I mean, you do what you got to do, I guess. Okay. All right, guys, we're almost there. Okay, 2 more clicks and connect. All right, so we have our first layer of our candy cane, and when you put your cursor over it, it should light up yellow like that. That is a good sign. The biggest mistake that people make when they do the tracing is that they don't connect their lines. And if that happens to you and you don't see that yellow line when you put your cursor over your thing like that, you know that you're missing a connection somewhere. And if you're doing something that's super complicated and you have to go back and look at all of your places that you had lines connect to see if you're missing a connection, it can be kind of tedious. So that's a tough part about tracing, but it is still pretty cool though. Okay, so now that we have this initial layer done, we're going to hit our green plus on our sketch one because we're done, we did it. And now we are going to extrude it. And extruding it just means that we're going to take it from 2D and we're going to make it to a 3D structure. And if we take a look at our top toolbox here, notice that it's not the same as it was for sketch one. If we click on sketch one, our tools change. And that's because we're out of the sketch feature. Yes, so right here, the first icon that we have after the sketch button is our extrude button. So we're going to click on that and we're going to see something pop up here that says extrude one. So that's exactly what we want to see. And it's asking us, what do we want to extrude? So we want to extrude the structure that we just did. So this candy cane right here, the outline. And see how it's yellow? That's perfect. That's just like what I said before. If everything is connected, you're in good shape, you should see a yellow line. So we see our yellow line and we're good. So we're gonna click right in the middle of it and it's in inches. Ooh, okay, so usually I like to put my units in millimeters. So I'm going to switch that right now. And to do that, you wanna come to these 3 lines right up here by the OnShape button, workspace units, and then inches. I'm just gonna switch that to millimeters. Perfect. Okay, so we can see that, oh wow, we didn't even hit the check mark on the extrude and it saved itself. But doesn't that look a little bit thick to you? Yeah, it's too thick for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and come in here and change it. So, oh my gosh, 25 millimeters. It's a little bit too much for me. So I'm gonna go with 2 millimeters. And let's see, we want it to be nice and thin. Yeah, perfect, look at that. So to move it around in this 3D plane right now, I'm just holding down on my right clicker, right button of my mouse, however you say it. Yeah, so that's how you can view your object as you're making it in the 3D image there. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to front here. And this is our candy cane. So it kind of looks like the end of an umbrella. So it definitely is not done yet. And if you remember the candy cane that I showed you before, we still have a couple steps to do before we reach our end product of our candy cane ornament. So let's keep going. All right, so notice that we don't see we notice that we don't see our candy cane image anymore. And that's because if you come over here to the sketch option for sketch one, the eyeball has a line through it. So that means it's not showing the initial sketch that we did. And we want to just click on that eye again, and we will definitely be able to see our sketch. Okay, so we're going to create another sketch. So come up here to the sketch button and see how it says sketch 2. That is exactly what we want to see. So it's asking us to select a sketch plane. So similar to the first sketch that we did when we clicked the front plane, now we're going to click the front face of the extrude that we did because we want to extrude on top of the first extrude. Kind of like extrude inception a little bit. It's kind of crazy, but simple at the same time. So yes, we clicked on our initial extrude, and this is where we're going to do our second sketch. So notice that our toolbars at the top here, they changed back to the sketch tools. So that's what we want to see, good. And now we're just going to continue the process of tracing our lines. So we're going to use the spline again, and we're going to come in here nice and zoomed in, and we're going to just connect our lines and try to trace the curvy sections between the red and the white. Okay. Sometimes it's a little bit tough to follow the curves, but as long as you do something interesting, it'll look cool. That's one of the reasons why I liked this candy cane, because it has the curvies. It's not just boring and straight line. There we go. If you're wondering how to get rid of your spline tool while you're kind of moving around in between lines, all you have to do is hit the escape button on your computer. All right, so you guys can see how this is kind of going fast. It's not taking too long, which is good. We're almost halfway done with our lines here. Yeah, so just make sure that you see here between every line that I'm doing, I'm clicking the escape button, and that's just removing my spline line tool between each section. And if you leave it, it will be weird. So make sure you hit that escape button. Yeah, some of them are not going to be as curvy as the others, but that's okay. Yes, and you know that your lines are connecting when you see the yellow light up like that around the perimeter of the candy cane. All right, one more. We're in the home stretch, guys. Okay, we're done. Wow, that went so fast. All right, so I'm gonna hit escape again, and that'll get rid of my little plus cursor there. And okay, here's our candy cane with the second sketch, and you can see that we have, if we put our cursor in the middle of each section of the candy cane, it lights up yellow, and that's what we wanna see. Again, yellow means that our lines are all connected, which is good. If we don't have connected lines, then our extrude is not going to work. Okay, so we're done with the second sketch. We're gonna hit our green plus, and now it kind of just looks the same like it did before, which is not what we want. So that means we actually need to do another extrude to go along with our second sketch. So we're gonna come back up here to this extrude icon, and it's asking us what we want to extrude, and I'm gonna go with the red portions of our candy cane. I'm just gonna have that extrude out on top of the first extrusion that we already did. And you can kind of see there how they're, yeah, look at that. That looks a little weird. Let's make it smaller. And I'll show you too. You can also use this arrow to, yeah, see how that's going down like that? To move your extrude up or down to kind of get a sense of what it would look like in the 3D plane. Yeah, so I'm gonna put mine there, and then you can also adjust it with this depth button right here, or option. I'm gonna say, what was our initial? Our initial was 2 millimeters, so I'm gonna make this 2.5. So let's hit our green check mark, and let's put it in 3D mode, or view it 3D with our right clicker there. Okay, it looks good. I'm gonna turn off the sketch for a second just to get a better view. Yeah, that looks really cool. So if you're happy with your candy cane the way it is right now, and you want to extrude it, if you want to export it and get it printed, all you'd have to do is come to the Part Studio 1, right click, export. You can name it, keep it as an STL, keep all of these things the same, hit OK, and it'll download, it'll show up right around here. And then just save that to your computer and email that to the 3D Printing Club, or if there's a Google form submission, you can use that. But yeah, that's how you would export it. But I'm not quite done yet. There's a couple things that I still want to do to my candy cane. So let's continue to work if you would like to. All right, so I'm going to turn my sketch back on, and I'm going to see that there's kind of this border that we left here at the beginning, because when we did our initial outline, we did it on the inside of the candy cane and not the outside. So I'm going to do another layer around the outside of this black line here to kind of make a border around my candy cane, make it look a little bit neater, and all that stuff, a little bit more organized. So let's go ahead and do that. So it's the same process of everything that we've been doing. So it's another sketch. So let's start a new sketch 3. We're going to hit the sketch plane that we want, and it's going to be, I believe it's on Extrude 2. Or you know what? Let's do sketch 1. Is that going to work? No, it's not. This is a little bit confusing. Just bear with me. Having a brain fart. Okay, there we go. Face of sketch 1. That's what I was trying to do. I'm not sure why that did not work the first time. But yeah, if you are having the same problem that I am, just kind of hover over your candy cane until you see this yellow outline, and then just click that, and it should pop up as the face of sketch 1 for your sketch 3 plane. All right, so let's get started. We're going to come back here, and we're going to use the spline again, and we're going to go around this black line just like we did the first time. So zoom in really close, and you can go ahead and trace. Sometimes it'll try to guide you to the right spot using this dotted line, and that can be super annoying. Don't worry if it's not even. Just to make it easier, I'm going to come back to my front plane here. The zooming in and out is tough, but you guys will get used to it. It does not have to be perfect, but just try to get it as close to that black line as you can. We're already almost done with this, so it is going pretty fast for an OnShape model. Sometimes they take a really long time, but this one is not, which is good. I'm sorry if I'm making you guys sick with my zooming in and out. I know that can be a bit rough. Yeah, when we get to this internal part of the candy cane, it's kind of hard to see that black line, so just kind of eyeball it a little bit and try your best to make your outline as close as you can. Okay, last one, and we're done. Yay. So we don't see a yellow line. Wait. Okay, we do see a yellow line. I think that's the internal one, though. Maybe I don't know. All right, let's see. Let's try to extrude it and see what happens. All right, so I'm just going to show you this one tool. I'm not sure if it's going to work because we're not in just one sketch. We're working between sketch 1 and sketch 3. But this is the dimension tool right here. It kind of looks like an arrow in both directions. Yeah, so if you just leave your mouse over, it should give you some instructions about what the tool does. But I'll tell you right now. So you can click on that. If you click on one line and then click on another line, it should tell you, yeah, so it gives me an angle, which I don't want. I don't want the angle. I wanted to see what the amount of millimeters was between this line and this line, but because they're between two different sketches, it's not going to give that to me. So I'm just going to go back and remove that. But if you're ever trying to make two lines the same distance away, the dimensions tool is a good thing to use for measurements like that. Okay, so we have our candy cane outline done. So now we're going to go ahead and extrude that. So let's click our green plus arrow or check mark arrow. We're going to come here to extrude, and there's our outline. We're going to extrude it. So we did 2.5 for our candy cane red sections. Let's try to do 2.3 and make it a little bit of a variation in height there. Okay, so I'm going to click the green arrow and let's turn off our sketch so we can take a look at this. Look at that! Look at our border, that looks so good. And notice how it's a little bit smaller than this section, but it's also a little bit bigger than the internal section. And actually, now that I'm looking at this, these sections seem to be a little bit too thick for my liking. So I'm gonna go ahead and change those. This is extrude 2. Let's see, it's 2.5 millimeters. I'm gonna make it 2.2. See how that looks. Is that any better? Yeah, I guess that's okay. It doesn't really change anything, but I can live with it. All right, so this looks very similar to what I originally started with and made for you guys, which is super cool. So this is how you would do your candy cane. Again, if you're happy with your candy cane and you are ready to send it over to the 3D printing club to be printed out, you would just come over here to the part studio, you would right click, export, create a name for it, leave all these other things the same, okay, and it will download for you, and you just go ahead and email that to us. But I still have other things to show you, so I'm not going to do that just yet. If you are still wanting to learn some more or add some more to your candy cane, stay on, keep watching the video, but if not, you're good. Whatever makes you happy, if you're ready to submit your candy cane, go right ahead. All right, so if you remember the original model that I made, I had a little loopy thing at the top to give you guys a place to put a string if you wanted to hang your candy cane from a tree. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make that. Okay, so we are going to, again, guess what? Make a new sketch. We're going to select a sketch plane, and now we're going to choose this thing right here. It should be, I want to do it on top of my, okay, let's just restart our sketch. Sorry, guys. New sketch. We want to do it on here. Okay, this is what we want. So we want our sketch to be on the face of extrude 3. Okay, so we're going to hit our check mark right here. So to get the candy cane to hang straight on the tree, we want our loopy to be the opposite way of the way that I did it in the other example. So here we go. I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about. If I'm sounding confusing, I'm sorry. So here's our circle. Remember I showed you this tool at the beginning? Well, we're going to use it right now to create our little loop right here. So let's just come up to the, oh my, okay, well, I guess we need to do it the other way. That's okay. All right, let's come back to our front. So here's our circle again. We're going to use it, just click one spot on here where we want our circle to be. And just, you can make it as big as you want. I'd say probably maybe about 6.5 millimeters is a good diameter for it. So let's go ahead and use our dimensions tool that I showed you earlier. And let's change that to 6.5. Perfect, okay. So now another really cool part of OnShape that I will show you is the offset. So here's our offset. And what the offset does is it kind of gives you an outline. So I can make an outline of my circle like this, and it will be perfectly in shape with my circle, exactly how we want it to be. So there you can see my sketch right there. You might be thinking to yourself, well, why didn't we just use this offset tool to make our border around the candy cane? That's a really good question, and I have that question too. I guess you just can't in OnShape. You can't use the offset tool with your spline line. You can only use it with a circle or a straight line or something along those lines. I wish they could use it with a spline though. That would be super, super easy, and just it would make this whole process easier. But unfortunately, we just have to deal with what we have. Okay, so can you guess what comes after creating our fourth sketch? It's extrude. We're going to extrude again. So here's our extrude 4. We're going to click the outside of our circle here. Ooh, that's not what we want. Let's go ahead and use our arrow to pull it in this way and try to match it up. I'm pretty sure this is 2 millimeters. Oop. See, it's deviating there a little bit. All right, it looks stable to me. So I'm going to match it up and say 2, was it 2.3 millimeters that we did? Yes. Okay. So if you remember the initial extrude that you did, you can type that in and it will match up exactly with your initial extrusion like that. See how we're not overlapping, we're exactly level with it. That's what we're looking for. So we're done. Click that check mark and look at that. Wow, that looks so good. Oh my gosh. So let's just take a look at this. Wow, this is an awesome candy cane. Now that I'm looking at it though, it is gonna hang a little bit lopsided. Maybe we want to move our hangy thing right here. I mean, you could do it however you want. I'm going to leave mine there because I'm not actually going to print this out. This is just for your reference. But if you want to move it so it hangs a little bit more level, you can do that. Okay, there's just one more thing I want to show you, and that's just for personalization of your candy cane. So I love stars. I put stars on everything, and I'm going to put a star on my candy cane. So I'm going to show you how to do that if you want to make a star. So another sketch we're going to do right on top of this little section of our candy cane here. And this is how I usually make my stars in OnShape. So I'll take my circle, put a circle in the middle of my little section here, and I'm going to click the escape button to get out of the circle tool. And you can actually click and hold on the middle of your circle to move it around. So I'm going to try to get mine in the center of the section. That looks good to me. Okay, so we have our circle. Now we're going to take our handy dandy line tool. We're going to just make a star in here. This is so much fun. Yeah, this star looks a bit lopsided. All right, let's see if we can use our dimensions tool to make this a little bit better. All right, so see how I clicked this section and this section? It's telling me that there's 1.6 millimeters. I'm going to try to make that 2. Okay, now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do the same for this. I'm going to make this 2 so that they're even. And hopefully that makes it look a little better. Ooh. Oh man, maybe not. Okay, so now we're going to do the same with these 2 lines in the middle right here. So boom and boom. Oh man, it's not letting me. Okay. All right, I think I see what I can do. All right, so escape that, and let's try to do this. Okay, so that's 3.2. Let's make it just 3. Oh, that looks so bad. Oh man. Let's make it 3 here. Okay, you can continue to play around with the dimension tool, but just for the sake of time, I'm going to stop here, and this is going to be my star. Ugh. Not the best star, but you can make it work. You can do better. All right, so you have your star here. Let's go back into the sketch mode. We're going to cut out the sections that we don't need. So we're going to cut out with our cut tool here, this line of the circle, and just cut out all around the circle because we don't need that. We were just using that for reference. And then if you want to cut in the middle of the star here, you can do that. Wow, that really does look pretty bad. Oh well. Okay, so we're done with the sketch. I'm going to click that check mark, and then guess what? Extrude again. And we're going to click our star, and we're going to extrude that 2.5 millimeters. Click our check mark because we're done, and then, oof, that's a bit much for me. Let's change that. Let's make that 1/2 of a millimeter so it doesn't stick up too much. Now, if we go back and do our right click and kind of swirl it around, we see that it's not too thick there. Okay, so this is your finished product. This is your candy cane. Congratulations. If you stayed with me up to this point, you did a great job. And I really hope that you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. I would be more than happy to help. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I know finals are coming up, so just stay sane. We're almost through it, guys. Alrighty, and this is Lauren from 3D PC signing off. Thanks again, and see you soon.